Hiya folks, it's Kikoskia here, and welcome back to Let's Play Pillars of Eternity. We left off, we're back in Brackenbury Sanitarium. We're here for two reasons, the first of which we've already dealt with. Aloth has a second soul as a part of their being, the soul of someone called Ethelmoer. Ethelmoer tends to surface when Aloth is in danger, feels pressured, is on alert. And we tried to see if we could find a way to help Aloth deal with Ethelmoer. The person we spoke to helped a tiny bit to get us to understand the vagaries of what's happening, but it's clear that they don't quite know what's going on themselves. We've encouraged Aloth to try and talk to Ethelmoer to come to an understanding. Whether that will actually happen or not remains to be seen.
I'd be glad to.
The other reason that we're here is to follow one of the leads we got from the Acolyte in the Leaden Key hideout in the Temple of Wodaka. We need to find someone that is here of their own free will, and see what information we can get. And to figure out where they are, we're going to need to talk to you.
I'm here.
You're incredibly helpful, and I'm very glad for that.
Gods keep you.
Ah, the Watcher. What brings you here? You may have a member of the Leaden Key in your midst. Ethelmoer groans and the stone around him shudders. I could have done without hearing that today. Many have their intrusions been into our affairs. Of course, one can seldom be certain whether they've meddled or whether calamity has struck on its own. But a few of their less skilled infiltrators have been exposed from time to time. They are a perpetual nuisance. Once again, I'm reminded of how envious I am of your gifts. I suspect they would be of some use in verifying one's identity. You are at odds with the Leaden Key as well, I take it. They are up to something, and I'm trying to determine what. They are always up to something. Of that you may rest assured. If their plots have come to involve you, you have my sympathies. Thanks. Do you have some idea who this person might be? I suspect it's patient. Very well. In that case, I would recommend you speak first with our resident animancers. They have frequent interactions with both patients and colleagues. You'll find them up here or in their offices downstairs. You will report anything suspicious to me immediately. This is my only request. Farewell. Right! We need to question animancers. And the best place for us to start is at the bottom, and then work our way up. It's not likely to be anybody working on the ground floor anyway. If there's someone scheming with the Leaden Key, they prefer to do so in secret. And it's very unlikely to be you, and it's probably unlikely to be you. So, let's have a look around here. We have Ripley here. We have this that we can unlock. Might as well.
I suppose it can't be helped. Hope that helps.
And going into it isn't stealing. Northward patient record. Oh, these are patient records. We want to read these. Northward patient record. Batixa, the Pale Lady. Subject is female, mid-40s. Awakened to a past life as a serial murderer, which now frequently emerges as the soul's dominant personality. Subject vacillates between violence and severe depression resulting from guilt of past deeds. Weak candidate for present research. Northward patient record Graham. Subject is a male, approximately early 30s. Powers of speech absent, presumably as a result of the overfragmentation of his soul. As such, he is the ideal subject for present research. However, experimentation has caused severe pain and induced panic, and I have had to enlist the aid of the guards in transporting him for more recent procedures. Oh dear. Northward patient record Idleman, the Midnight Man. Subject is male, mid-20s, displays acute dissociation and paranoid delusion tendencies, causing anger and extreme violence. Dangers of working with the subject preclude possibility of further use in present research. And finally, Northward patient record Uskgrim. Subject is a male approximately 17 years of age, admitted for episodes of catatonia, followed by occasional violent outbursts. Initial analysis of soul revealed severe fragmentation and essence deficiency. Said deficiency all but eliminates the possibility of utilizing subject in present research.
Yes?
Fair enough. We have this that we can look at. Note from Azo. Ripley, I require more copper tubing for my next experiment. Do not requisition it from the Sanitarium stores. I don't have the time to deal with the head warden's inevitable questions. I'm taking that one.
Yes?
Best not to talk to you if I can avoid it. Let's head back up and reveal this information. Someone is doing stuff and they don't want the Sanitarium to know. And that is as good a lead as any. So. Oh, I have made this very small. Uh-oh. Oh no, I've made it even smaller! There we go. It's never going to be the same size ever again. It's never going to be the same size. I'm so sorry, everyone.
Good day, stranger.
Have you learned anything of interest? Maybe. Is Caedmon Azo running experiments on the patients here? Experiments? Caedmon Azo is in charge of patient welfare now. He's not authorized to run any more experiments. I am disappointed in Caedmon. I had hoped he would be the one to guide your inquiry. He'll be in his office or in the patient's ward. I am granting you immediate access so you can find him. No doubt you will wish to speak to him further on this matter. And I, for one, am curious as to what he might have to say. Tread carefully in the wards. There are a few dangerous cases. I would ask also that you do your best not to agitate the patients. They have enough troubles as it is. Farewell.
I'm here.
Right, we must now investigate the patient ward and see what is going on. So we now have access to that door at the end of the corridor downstairs. And we better save before we go in. Because as we were told, it's the patient ward, and there are some violent people there. We are heavily armed, but that doesn't mean that we're not in danger. Let us save. We have a lot of save files. And tiptoe in. The head warden says you can go on in. Be careful in there. Must have spent all their copper on the upstairs. We have flesh construct, guard, frail, patient. Okay, don't talk to anyone unless we need to. That said, frail is named, so they might be able to help me. A curved spine twists this woman's posture forward, her greasy hair draped over her large eyes like vines. She smiles at you. You must be visiting someone. Then, noting your appearance, she adds, a friendly visit, I hope. Have any of the patients been acting unusually? Well, there's Balthazar, who relives a murder she committed more than 5 lifetimes ago. Ethelmoer, who they say only has half a soul, and who's collecting the faces of others because he believed his own to be a false one. Graham, he speaks a language no one understands and wails at night sometimes. Different from their normal behavior, I mean. Yeah, well, yes, I suppose. But nothing they didn't volunteer for. Master Azo let us know that a number of patients in the North Ward have volunteered for new therapy and will be escorted to his laboratory to receive treatment. The North Ward has our most troubled cases. I'm glad some of them have chosen to get help. It seems to me it's gotten quieter over there since it started. Yeah, I think I know why. It's Graham I see them taking in the most. He struggles, but he always was a bit of a wild one. Would I be able to visit the North Ward? They like to keep them separate. I don't know if I've ever seen the guards allow a visitor. Just Master Azo. You might ask him. He's very sympathetic. Why are you in here? Behind her hair, her cheeks flush. I don't want to say. You'll think less of me. I wouldn't worry about that. These last few years haven't been kind to me. They haven't been kind to anyone, really. I try not to think of it as personal. I lost my husband and both boys in the Saints' War. My daughter, the legacy took her before she was even mine. I made do. What else could you do? I moved into a tiny place in Ondra's gift, got by mending clothes and on the kindness of strangers when I had to. but I was surviving and my gods were watching over me. I could live with that. Then one day, this noblewoman comes in, wants this fancy gown fixed. Gorgeous thing. This shade of blue I've never seen before. Only I had. I looked at it, and it reminded me of something. I had what they call an awakening. I remembered being a noblewoman myself in another life. The people doting over me. Men doting over me. Me! The best food, the most beautiful home, all the things you never dared to dream of. They were mine. It was poison knowing that. All those things I had that I'll never have in this life. It did something to me. My food started to taste rotten. The walls in my little room seemed to close in around me. I stopped being able to sleep in my own bed. So I came here. It was that or break into an estate and start ordering servants around. It seems like such a silly thing to worry about. You don't have to tell me. But I can't get past it. And I start to wonder. Did the gods choose this life for me? And if so, what terrible thing must I have done to deserve it? Nobody deserves to go through what you've gone through. I hope not. I can't even imagine the monsters who deserve what half the patients here go through every day. Do you know where I might find Azo? I think I've seen him around today. Have you checked the laboratory? It shares the wall with his office. He's been spending most of his time there lately. Performing experiments he's not meant to. What do you know about Azo? Oh, I like him very much. Many animancers could care less about their patients. Look at us like vermin for their experiments. But Master Azo treats us like humans, even the very sick. You can tell he does this to help people. He's helped me understand a great deal about myself, and I know he's done the same for others. It's too bad what they did to him. He hides it well, but I know he's still affected by it. What happened to Azo? Freyol's eyes dart back and forth, and her voice lowers to just above a whisper. They don't like to talk about it, but there was an accident. He was said to be one of the brightest in Deerwood. That was his reputation here, and that was what brought me to seek treatment. People say it was ego that drove him to try and solve a legacy, but that's hogwash, even if he was a bit of a showman. He loves his homeland. He thought he could help. He wasn't one to speak of his work, suspected his colleagues might have tried to steal it, but he told me once that he'd figured out a way to create a soul. Oh, this isn't going to end well. Not a soul exactly, mind you. How did he put it? A proxy, I think he called it. Had some machine that drew energy out of the very ether. Can you imagine? The point is, it was going to help their legacy. It was going to help make Hollowborn into something easier to love and care for. Gods know that's something we need. Do you know what they call those empty little babies in Andra's gift? No, tell me. They call them buoys, because so many of them are found floating face down in the water. These are mad times. Yes. Yes, they are. The grieving mother's hands fly to her ears, and her mouth frames a silent scream. Only her mind speaks. Evils that magnify tragedies. This is what we must stop. Anyway, Master Azo had scheduled a public demonstration of his work in Copperlane. He was so excited. And then the next day, he was locked in his office, turning away visitors, I heard, and he stopped seeing patients. I don't know exactly what happened, and I don't have the heart to ask him, but I'm glad they're letting him treat people again. They're not. Farewell.
Yes?
They're not. So we have to interview Graham in the North Ward.
Absolutely.
This is laboratory. It's locked. Okay, that's probably the North Ward. Let's go down here. This looks like a laboratory. What's over here? Cells? Yeah, we're not going there. In here, however, there's Caedmon Azo. There's also a box that we can unlock.
I'm here.
Ooh, it's a difficult unlock too.
Hope that helps.
But we did it! Ravenwing! A really good mace. Legend tells of a druid, wise and powerful, who travelled accompanied by a flock of ravens. In battle, the druid would assail his enemies with his mace while the ravens descended in a chaotic swarm, distracting and flanking his foe. Years of coordinated attacks and the druid's lingering magic are said to have gifted his mace with an enchantment that lends the wielder similar gifts. The mace is finely wrought and lightweight, making it maneuverable, and if not very resistant against direct attacks. Against a distracted opponent, however, a single blow often proves quite sufficient. Take that. What else do we have here? Another box
It's no trouble.
that we can unlock.
There you go.
And just take stuff. Blade Golem. Blade Golem, Wolfheart, is said to have been blessed by the Lord of the Hunt himself. A human hunter, showing skill with the bow and arrow beyond any before seen, caught Galawain's attention one day. Galawain proposed a bargain. If the hunter could best him in a hunting contest, Galawain would present her with armour that would bestow upon her the power of a wolf. For a week, both hunters tracked their respective quarry through the woods, and when the contest was ended, the hunter had felt the most game. True to his word, Galawain presented her with Wolfheart, which gave her the crafty and evasive nature of its namesake. Minus 50 stun duration, minus 50 knockdown duration. So, less likely to be stunned and knocked down, and more defense when you're stunned and knocked down.
I'm here.
That's quite nice. Okay, what do we have here to look at? Something churns and bubbles in this tank. The copper wires and conduits are shiny. The device is warm to the touch. The copper wires are shiny. Something churns and bubbles in the tank. Okay, let's have a conversation with Caedmon. We've got to get to the bottom of what's going on here. We've got to get to the bottom of what's going on. We need to go speak to that person that's in the North Ward.
You're quite friendly, aren't you?
Hello. A round-faced, balding man turns to face you. His upper lip is pulled upward slightly by his pointed nose, exposing his upper teeth when he scowls.
What is the meaning of this?
Well, Ethelmoer told me you're not supposed to be doing any more experiments. Yes, well, Ethelmoer hasn't done much good for anybody since he had his soul moved into an inanimate object, so I fail to see why I should let that sway me. If animancers all followed the commands of their leaders, where would we be? We'd all be as backwards and willfully ignorant as Raedceres. We would know nothing about life or death, or even ourselves. We would be lost in the dark with no clue as to why. Our leaders guide us, and without them we risk losing our way. If this man would strike off on his own, then let him fend for himself, without the benefit of the Sanitarium. You toy with things beyond our comprehension. It's dangerous and foolish.
Are you from Raedceres? Are you Warden himself, risen to smite me for my heretical belief in learning who I am and why I exist? Please. You are afraid because men have taught you to be afraid. Because they were taught to be afraid. These things are only beyond our comprehension because of the fears of people like you.
There's experimentation, Caedmon, and then there's reckless experimentation.
Who will solve Warden's legacy? Some church? Some warrior? It will be an animancer, or it will be no one at all.
Have you tried your experiments on any other subjects? I have, yes. No point in lying about it now that Ethelmoer is involved. I asked for volunteers from our patients, and a few brave souls came forward. I was very close at one time to a breakthrough. They understood that. They understood their sacrifices would mean something. I'd like access to the North Ward. Out of the question. Those patients are in isolation for a reason. Your forehead seems damp all of a sudden. Perhaps I should discuss your insubordination with the head warden.
You smug cretin. How dare you come down here and meddle? You have no idea the importance of my research.
He balls up his fist and digs his teeth into his index finger, a growl simmering beneath his breath and a deep scowl compressing his face.
Fine. Speak to them for all the good it'll do you. I'm sure the discussions will be fascinating.
He pulls a heavy key from one of his pockets and nearly slams it down on the floor before handing it to you. Farewell. I'll speak to you later. No doubt. And with that, we have a key. And we probably have some stuff to tell Ethelmoer. Oh, we have stuff to tell Ethelmoer. He's not going to be happy about what Caedmon is up to. Not at all. I know the animancers are trying to figure things out and research the nature of souls. But pushing ahead without anyone knowing, with methods that no one has any clue as to whether they'll work, and there's a lot of unknown, but there's a safer way of stepping into it, a kinder way, the kinder way to the patients that you're trying to treat. I don't think Caedmon sees that. Caedmon is devoted, obsessed with trying to prove that what he can do works. I don't think it's the solution. I don't think it is. Now when we come back, folks, we'll go to the North Ward, speak to the people there, and learn what we can. Fingers crossed, it'll be something useful. And then, of course, we'll report to Ethelmoer, because we said we would. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're not. And if you are subscribed, press that bell for those notifications. And I'll catch you next time, folks. And I'll see you then. Later. Also, I should probably switch you over to your crossbow. Yeah, I should. Later.